You can have all the ideas. And so when you share them, when it comes to community or competition, when you share them, don't be afraid to, because it's the person who actually executes them. That's the differentiator right there.
Welcome back to another episode of the Breadwinner Podcast. It's Caroline here with another conversation all about building a thriving sourdough micro bakery business from your home. Today, I am joined by a real life friend who is a very, very dear friend and the leader of the women's community that I've been part of for several years here in San Antonio. And I asked her to come on because I've had lots of conversations recently, like with members of my coaching group and people that I've coached and just people on Instagram about getting involved in a local community. And I know no one better to talk about this than you, Christine. So I am so excited for this conversation. So will you just introduce yourself real quickly and then we'll kind of dive into community?
Of course. My name is Christine Brinkman. I am the founder of Babes for Babes. My passion is connection. And so have the privilege, the ability to bring women entrepreneurs together. And through that, I help them pursue their passions in life and work. Our networking community is more than just transactional business, what you can do for me, what I can do for you. It's really seeing women grow holistically, because I'm always stressing that I want to see women grow, not just in their business and accomplishing their goals, but also their goals within their life, whether that's their family, hobbies on the sides that they like as well. So that's what I get to do. I have a thriving membership, and we get to meet about 2 to 3 times a month. And I also create other events to bring other women entrepreneurs together as well. So it's just been a joy to be able to have that as my job. It's so fun. I love it. And to have Caroline be part of it, I call her the OG. She's been part of Babes for Babes before I even became this membership. It was a market back in 2018 and just pivoting how business goes and changing. And now where it's at, she's been with me all along. So I'm so thankful to her. And I just cherish your friendship so much.
I'm going to get sentimental. Yeah, I just seen the way that you have poured into so many women in business and the way that it has nurtured growth for hundreds of women who have passions to build something, but also to stay present in the relationships, their home relationships, their families, and their friendships. And you nurture and cultivate that so, so beautifully. One of your messages that you repeat over and over is community over competition.
Yes.
And I think that is really just ingrained so deeply in the heart of BSB. Babes Support Babes is the organization. And that's what sets it apart. That's what makes it so completely different from all of the other networking groups. Will you talk a little bit about what community over competition looks like?
Yes. I think really it started going back to the origins of Babes for Babes, which was a market in 2018. When I was sharing this vision I had of Babes for Babes, I was telling the vendors who were applying and I was asking me part of it. I said, my idea and my dream is that when you see a vendor next to you make a sale, you cheer her on because her win is your win. And that we're not getting competitive and we're not upset that they're getting people that are, buying from them and not from you. But really, it's just this whole communal aspect of celebration and honoring each other. So that's just been a very core value of Babes for Babes. And it has changed. I don't do markets anymore. But now it's, how does it look like within our membership? We have multiple photographers within our membership. We have multiple realtors, therapists. And what I've seen is that the abundance mindset will bring in more. When you have that scarcity mindset of, I'm going to keep and gatekeep my ideas or what I've gone through, and someone asks me, how did that work out? How did you branch out? And I'm not going to share. It really, I feel like it doesn't do you justice or doesn't help your business or others. And so for me, I know our actually business coach told me, she said, you can have all the ideas. And so when you share them, when it comes to community or competition, when you share them, don't be afraid to, because it's the person who actually executes them. That's the differentiator right there. And so I'm not perfect at it too. There's those feelings of, oh, I don't want to share that. This is hard. This is my baby. But then I have to remember is there's room for everyone. And so recently I'm actually partnering up with another very big women organization in San Antonio. And I told them, I had meetings with them and I said, we are better together. You do things really well and I do things really well. And so the more we keep each other separate, it's not going to do great. We need to come together. So I'm excited about that. So I really encourage, and I think it's really helpful is when you have another entrepreneur that understands your business. They get it. So especially the micro bakery business, you understand what you have to deal with, whether that's trying out different recipes, going to different markets, oven settings, all those little things to be able for you to have someone to say, been there, tweak it this way, or have you thought about that? Is really a game changer, and it won't it's dependent on who the people you surround yourself with. It only is gonna make you better. It really is. So that's what my heart has been with community over competition.
I love that, and you just did it so well. The sourdough micro bakery space is really saturated right now. We're seeing new bakers pop up constantly, which I love. We need more good bread in our communities. We were just saying before we started recording that bread just really brings people together
Yeah.
in a really unique and special way. But that is a fear that I hear really often. I hear people saying, I want to start selling in my community, but there's another baker down the road. Or saying, I have been selling and this new baker just popped up and they're doing something really similar.
Mm.
What would you say to those bakers who are really worried about that local competition in a highly saturated market?
Yeah, I would say you really have to understand who you are and your unique attributes. I would even write it down. What makes you so unique? Yes, your bread, but one person does an original sourdough, another person. But who you are, what you bring to your customers is attributes that you can really hone in on. And so maybe say, well, maybe I'm going to now add a personal note or tweak it just a little bit. But I would say there's room for everyone. You can't bake for the whole town or city that you're in. As much as sometimes in my head, I think that I want every woman in San Antonio to be in the BSB community. And what I've learned in the past years is there's some women that just don't fit within my network or within my community. And when I am connected with other communities that are the same as mine, I'm able to share with her. So, for example, you might get someone that says, I know for Caroline, she doesn't do delivery anymore. It's not part of your business plan or business model. And there might be someone who's like, I need delivery. But if you are already connected with someone who does, you could say, great, well, this is someone who does do that and help that out because. And I think a lot of them have, and you have experienced, there's some customers that just don't fit, and that's okay. But you can find someone that you can share with. Understanding who you are, understanding that you are unique and there's no one like you. When I buy from Caroline, which I can smell my cinnamon raisin bread right now, and I'm so excited to take it home and eat some. I know, like I literally when I purchase from her, I'm thinking of her husband Scott. I'm thinking of her kids, Rudy, her puppy here. I'm investing in the who she is, not just the product. And so many times I say, people buy people, people don't buy products. And so when you really start putting more connection in that way, that's what's going to set you apart. I bet there's some that maybe you are a micro bakery and you're a Taylor fan. Maybe you're the Taylor fan, the Swiftie of sourdough. That could be your tagline. I'm the Swiftie of sourdough and know that every single time I'm mixing your dough, I'm listening to a song. Or put a lyric on the bag. You just put one lyric or something. Make it so unique that you stand out from others. And not in a way that's like, I'm going to just, you have to buy from me. But no, I'm different. And so if you're not a Swiftie fan, that's okay. There's someone down the road that you can connect with. So I just say everyone's unique. Hone in on that. Even show it a little bit more. And that's when you're going to find those ideal clients that are going to stick with you for the long run.
Yeah, I love that. That is such good advice. And like you said, there is room for everyone. And we do not have the capacity to be the baker for the entire community. And so we need more people to be speaking to the right part of our community and just speak to your people and they'll find you. And same goes to the other bakers on the street. I love that. So for someone who does not have that community, that life-giving group of women, well, we have some male listeners too, but our audience is primarily women. So for someone who is looking for a community, what are a couple of tips to help find a community that is similar? Maybe not just the passing out business cards networking group. How do they look for that?
That's great. I think you just test it out. You got to find what fits best. And so you can always search whether on Instagram or on Facebook groups. I know, I want to say Eventbrite is really good too. If you do the searches and you can search sourdough, you got to do some digging. So what I would do is if you go to Eventbrite, search maybe sourdough, and then it'll stay within your town or city. Then you're going to see the host. Who's hosting it? Then you deep dive. Okay, that person's hosting it. Okay, that means that person must be a baker. You click on that person, and then you do cold calls or cold DMs, which I love. And I think we're like one of a friends, many friends have gone even deeper because of I slipped into their DMs. And then you just message them, say, "Hi, I found you. I'm so excited that I'll be attending your next event. I'm excited to just connect with you. If you're ever wanting to do a 15-minute virtual coffee, it would be great." Everyone, typically what I've seen, no one says no to a 15-minute virtual coffee because everyone has time for that. Don't ask people out for coffee. That's a lot, especially you guys are so busy and every single day you have something planned. So a virtual is good. When you start talking to that person, you're building that trust. And with that conversation, a lot of times I'll say, "Hey, do you know this person? Or have you met up with that person?" And then you start meeting others. I would say the communities like Babes for Babes are out there, but if you're looking for a tight-knit group that has similarities as you, then go find that and start creating it yourself. And I know there's gonna be other entrepreneur communities out there, you just have to go and try them out. And know that, and I'm guilty of this too, when you walk on in, you're thinking like everything is gonna align, it's gonna fall in place, it's gonna feel perfect. It might not. It might feel clunky and awkward. Stick to it though. Go 2, 3 times, and then when you're there, make sure before you even step foot into that location, just tell yourself, "My goal is 2 connections. I'm gonna follow up with 2 connections that I feel like we're vibing." And then that's when you send those DMs and say, "Oh, I loved a 15-minute virtual coffee," and get to know that, and then you build. For me, it's what you want, you gotta build, and that's what I do. It's if I want this, I gotta build it, and it does take time and effort, but it's so, so worth it. And so in the times where I'm meeting a community to lift me up, they're there for me, and when I have great things to celebrate, they're there to celebrate with me. So, yeah, Instagram, Facebook, Eventbrite, you just keep on looking and ask those fellow sourdough bakers that are down the street from you, "Hey, are you part of anything? Or do you wanna create a little mastermind?" Or something. Start with just a group text. Do a DM group. It doesn't have to be big. That's the biggest thing I always say is small and consistent. Go small. Don't ever make it big because when it's big, it gets overwhelming and it won't be sustainable. So small, make it sustainable, and then make it consistent. And so just saying, "Hey, for right now, we're just gonna be meeting twice a month, and it's just gonna be on Zoom." That's it. And then, okay. And then ideally, you would like to have people face to face. I think that's where connections come to. But if for now, I would say go for Zoom, and then maybe you can find some that are local too. So I hope that was helpful. It was a lot of information.
Helpful. So helpful. So many nuggets in there. This is going to be a rewatch episode. But also for those of you listening and maybe you've got your hands in your dough, I will put bullet points on the episode website. So go down to the show notes, click over to the episode website to get those really tangible things. Like you go in that group, that in-person group, and you don't have to give your business card to every single person. You go in and you have a goal of connecting with 2 people. That makes it feel so much less overwhelming. And it doesn't have to be a coffee date that you schedule,
No.
but a 15-minute virtual chat. That is so much more manageable and so much more doable.
Yes.
And you have learned this the hard way through experimenting. And so you really know what works and how to really connect on a deep and authentic way. That is so helpful. You mentioned consistency. Tell me why that's so important when you're connecting in a community.
Oh gosh, because within consistency brings vulnerability. You're not surface level. When you're consistent, you are not just going to be wasting time. "How are you doing? It's been so long." And then you're playing catch up, and then, "Oh, look at the time you got to go." And so when you're consistent, you're jumping in the conversation and you're saying, "I remember you had mentioned that you were having a conversation about this for your business. How did that go?" Or you can check in. With consistency brings ability for people to really be deeper within your life. And I think we all crave that. We want to feel seen, we want to feel known. It's also very sometimes frustrating when you have to repeat the same things. "This is what I do. This is my business. No, I don't do that." No, but if someone who's consistent and that shows up, they know who you are, they're able not only to ask how you're doing currently, but also they're able to shout you out and connect you with everyone because they know you very well. And that's what I love doing is when I'm staying connected with my community, it's very easy for me to find opportunities for them
Mm.
because if you're not gonna be staying connected, then I might say, "Oh, yeah, I think that's gonna be great for them," and I send them to someone, and that person's, "I don't that's not part of my business anymore. I totally threw that out 6 months ago or 3 months ago." That's really important, and again, with the depth of that relationship too,
Mhm.
of going deeper and not just surface level, because when you are not consistent, it is so easy to be a flaky friend and say, "Oh, I can't make it, sorry," but when that consistency comes, you can say, "Hey, I'm showing up to my Zoom. I'm actually not gonna put the video call this time," or you come in and you hang out and like, "I'm not perfect, but at least I'm here because I know that the consistency matters." But yeah, and it builds so much trust. That's the main thing of consistency, building trust of talking to them, getting to know them, they get to know you, and so then when opportunities come, they can share with you and you can share with them knowing that you have trust with each other, so it is so, so important. That's why it's very important to start small. Very small. I have an event called Babes and Coffee. It's one of our, I don't know, just I guess bigger events once a month, and it started in my back porch with drip coffee. It wasn't even special coffee, but it was just a handful of ladies, and we just sat around talking about our highs and lows, and we made it consistently once a month, and it's been going on since 2019,
Mhm.
and it's been really good. So
Mm.
that's and through that, we've built relationships and opportunities for that.
Yeah.
So stay consistent, even the highs and lows. It's so important.
So good. I think I know you've talked about and I've seen that it is the women who commit and continually show up who
Mhm.
get the most out of an intentional community, both
Mhm.
personally and business. So if you, as you're listening, want to connect in a community and truly grow from it, that is the absolute key is just to commit to showing up. And there have been seasons of life where I can go to every event in the month, but the last few months, I have been in a season that's really full, and I'm lucky if I go to one event a month.
Mhm.
But the connections that I've made, the friendships and relationships that I've built, like we have a Marco Polo group, and
Mhm.
so we get to chat face to face in a small group of 5 of us multiple times a week and still cheer on wins and share the highs and lows because we've invested that time when
Yes,
it fits in our lives.
absolutely, and we wouldn't have gone to that Marco Polo group unless we had already built that trust.
Mhm.
I don't Marco Polo is like it's my favorite way of communicating. I don't Marco with everyone
Mhm.
because when I Marco, I'm in my robe. I'm putting
Curling your hair.
we're filling your hair, putting on makeup. I'm in the midst of making breakfast or something. So that's Marco Polo is okay. I'm ready to invite you to my home.
Yeah.
But that took we've been
It's
friends for
been years.
years.
Yeah.
And same with the other women within our group too, is that we built that trust and all those women had been going and attending those meetings or those events consistently.
Mhm.
And that's where you're gonna see it's like going to the gym. You can't be going to the gym twice a month and be like, "Well, I'm gonna give up here because I don't see any progress." Well, it's whatever you put in is what you get out. And so it's if you're consistent and you stay with it even when it's hard and you don't want to, but also the accountability too is key.
Mhm.
And so I love the platform we use for our community, which is Mighty Network. You can see who is RSVP. And so it gives you that accountability. Okay, Caroline's going to be there. Okay, I got to go there too.
Mhm.
And then always checking, hey, are you going to go to that event? And so that you have that accountability. And then whatever you're learning together, you can continue to talk about it and grow in your business and in that way too. I think the biggest thing what I've learned these past many years of business is it just takes time. I think you
Yeah.
know that too.
Yeah.
It's not just this easy button that we're going to figure it all out. We're going to find that amazing community.
Mm.
We're going to find this perfect schedule of how to be baking and showing up for our family. It takes time and
Mhm.
it's this falling forward of that didn't work, but that's okay. I'm going to keep on moving forward. So I think the biggest thing is it's up to you. If you're willing to put in the time and effort and tell yourself, I'm going to commit to this and I'm not going to let it go because this is my passion. And I choose to say yes every day, even when it's hard.
Mhm.
It's important. Yeah.
So good. So you've touched on it a little bit already, but for someone who is searching and cannot find a community that already exists in their area, what are just a couple more, like, super practical ways that if our listener, he or she, feels like they're the one to start cultivating that community and building? You said start small. What's something else that they can do
Yeah.
to start to build that intentional, life-giving group?
Yes. So I own a event space called Babes for Babes Co-Space, and during that time, it's really good to have competitive analysis and get to know other co-working it's a co-working space as well and an event rental space too. So I was deep diving and I came across her name is Emma and she owns the Co-Lab in Tennessee. It's not in Texas. And I just was fangirling from the sidelines for a long time. And finally, I was like, I really like her. So I'm just going to put it out there. And I remember sending her a DM and I sent her an email and I said, I would love to start meeting maybe once a month just to talk about life, but really what it looks like being a event rental based owner because it's different than other things. But it was up to me to do that first step. And so so we started talking and through Marco Polo and then also through Zoom calls too. And actually eventually met her in person a couple months after that. But I think it's you find who you like, what you're looking for, and you just ask, and you just send that DM and say, "Hey, I," and just be so complimentary and just say, "I really admire the way you run your business." It's when you're little and you're in school and they're in the playground and they go up to the kids and say, "Hey, can I play? Do you wanna play together?" And it's not even awkward, it's, "Of course, sure." And as adults, we lose that. Instead, we're like, "I could never, I don't know, what would they think?" And then we have all of these thoughts that go in that creates this, I don't know, this barrier for us to have deep relationships. And so what I've learned is if I'm looking for a friend that I'm needing, and there's going to be different women or men going to be in your life that's going to serve a different purpose with what you need in your life. And so for me, I was like, I need someone that understands event rentals. And so I asked, "Hey, do you want to play?" And she said yes. And but it's work. It's on me to stay consistent because we're both busy. I would say that start there. Again, I think I'm trying to think what's another thing that I've done. I think, yeah, I'm just bold and it's awkward. And sometimes, and then you'll realize this is just not a good fit and that's okay. But then you'll know to connect with someone else who would be a better fit with them. So I think just, yeah, just asking to be my friend. And it really does, you feel honored when someone asks, "Can I do that?" And then, but also knowing that you're not going for them like, "I need." You're not coming to them with, "I need, 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 need." Come to like, "I admire you. I would love to get to know you. Can you tell me your story?" Everybody wants to share their story.
That's so true. I think that was a turning point for me when I stopped viewing relationships with other business owners as a potential lead or a potential customer
Yeah.
and just as someone else that I get to learn from and grow with. And I think it's you who I've heard say in the past to be the friend that goes first,
Oh, yeah.
which is something that it doesn't come naturally to me. And for me, I'm the one who feels really timid and, oh, but I'm sure she's busy. I tend to get in my own way. But if I get past that and be the one who goes first, no, someone needs to do it. And so if it's something you're craving, if you're craving that connection, just get out of your own head, get out of your own way, and be the friend that goes first.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah. And then and know that it doesn't have to always go first. You don't have to always be the one to go first because after a while, they'll take the leads, take the reins to do it. But my biggest thing is if you wanna go get it, and be the person to do it, and I your sourdough can't be your best friend. Like, you and can you just imagine, and a lot of times what I've been doing too is just visualize, what does this friend look like? What does this group look like? I wanna be someone that's gonna keep me accountable, that when I have these crazy goals in front of me for the new year or the months to come, the different quarters that you have, I need someone to be the bossy big sis or someone to kick me in the pants. That's what I'm needing. And then look for them, but then tell yourself, "I'm gonna find them." It's one of those things like when you put it out in the universe, when you just put it out there and you're just visualizing it, it does happen and it'll like gravitate toward that too. So it's out there.
yes. Oh my goodness, so good. We just talk for hours.
Yeah.
I love sitting with tea or coffee
I
and
know.
talking with you, but we also want to respect our time. So we're going to wind down a little bit.
Yeah.
This has been so incredibly wonderful. Thank you for taking this time. If people want to connect with you and learn from you, where can they find you and what can you offer online or? how can they find out more?
Yes. So you can find me. I'm usually my hangout area is Instagram. It's BSBSATX. That's where we're at for Babes for Babes. I love a DM. Send me a DM and I will send you a voice message back. And if you have any questions or if maybe you are just analysis paralysis about how do I even start a community and I'm dying in my small bakery at my house and I can't do this anymore. Send me and I will love to be able to share ideas. I am going to be doing coaching within 2025, and so I'll be sharing that a little bit more. But for now, I would love to send you a voice message and just to encourage you. And oh my gosh, I'm always like wanting to see you guys behind the scenes. And so to be able to see what you're mixing up and what you're creating is just a joy to me because this is an art that I choose to have others make and then I get to enjoy. So I love to see others who are making this beautiful art and be able to cherish and applaud you.
Wonderful, Christine. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for your friendship and just the way that you have continued to boldly step forward and cultivate community and build up other women. So, as always, I will be back soon with another episode. If you resonated with this episode, if you learned anything, if you're inspired, screenshot the show, tag me. I'm Caroline Bauer _sourdough. Tag Christine, BSB, SATX. I'll put her handle down in the show notes so we can both see where you're listening from and connect and grow together. I will be back soon, but until then, happy baking.